Good morning, cultists. Welcome to Dessert Time with Cthulhu's. We did it. We finally did it. Here we are at the end of our Pining for the Fjords campaign, and we have successfully converted over 60% of the world to Germanicdom. Over 60%, and I don't think that's actually counting the areas that have not yet been converted. I think. I could be wrong. But I did the calculations, and this is what I based it off. So I added up all these numbers, and then I, got the percentages. And it turns out that we do actually own the majority of the world in terms of religion. So I would say that we did pretty well as a religious world conquest. And if I had more time, we would definitely see this snowball and get even faster and faster until, well, basically we take over the entire world and have one singular religion. Unfortunately, didn't really get to see that happen, but I still count this campaign as a success. And I kind of wanted to do this post-mortem a little differently than I have with the last few episodes or last few series. Traditionally, what I would do in a post-mortem is just go through the Dynasty members and talk about their highlights and the different memories that we have with them. But I'm going to do this a little differently because I want you, the viewers, my cultists, to learn from my mistakes. And I think we definitely had the possibility to actually religiously take over the world if I had not squandered certain opportunities. And also, it would have helped if I had changed some of the game rules before I started. So this is the features, that's not really all that important. But the game rules here. One thing that I think that really would have helped was if he had turned off dynamic de jure drift. If we had turned this off, or at least made the sub-realms take like 300 years to integrate as opposed to 100, I think it would have been a lot easier for us to conquer the world. And I think in the future, I'll actually try playing with dynamic de jure drift turned off. We could get into a whole debate about like the pros and cons of dynamic de jure drift and all that. But in my personal experience, I've always never been a huge fan of it. I know there are some benefits, as I mentioned, but I don't really want to get into that right now. But just, I think the cons, for me at least, it really outweighs the benefits. Because, just look at this. Just look at this mess that is Burgundy and Aquitaine and France. Western Europe here is just a complete and utter mess. And of course, England is now falling prey to that as well. And of course, let's not forget my mistakes with Svithjod and destroying Norge and Lapland and all that stuff. So I would personally prefer to play with dynamic de jure drift turned off, and I'll try that in the next campaign and see how all that goes. But of course, our next campaign will be with Jade Dragon, so that might switch things up a little bit as well. I'm not entirely sure, but I hope to see you guys there. But I'm not quite done with the post-mortem just yet. I apologize. I don't really have a prepared script for any of this. I just kind of like do this off the cuff. And I just kind of say shit that comes to mind. So I think that's something that really would have helped a lot is turning off dynamic de jure drift. But beyond that, I think one thing that I really got hung up on was, despite the fact that we had the dynamic de jure drift, was trying to maintain de jure borders and scheming and plotting and all that stuff. But another thing that also really, I think, slowed things down is constantly having to fight off rebellions with every succession, because it's not like immediate. We have to get all our troops all from all over the place, and oftentimes we have there are supporters of the rebellion from all over the place as well that just need quashing and need their faces kicked in, and so there's a lot of travel time, etc., etc. And I think that really bogged us down as well. And let's not forget that I often forgot to actually go raiding as a Viking. I think if we had taken advantage of that sooner and more often, and also not done the stupid way of raiding, and actually did the smart way of like multi-rating, simultaneous multi-rating, it would have really helped us out. But beyond that, I think we did quite well, despite all that, all the mistakes that I made. But, and I'm sure you've come to notice by now, by watching some of my stuff, that I don't really tend to min-max very well. I think I do a decent job of eugenics, in the sense that I, you know, always try to make a genius heir, and etc, etc. And they usually always turn out very well in terms of their statistics and whatnot. But beyond that, I'm not really one for min-maxing. I'm more in it for the story and the fun, and I hope that's what you kind of watch me for as well. But who knows? And unfortunately, one of the drawbacks to having such a long campaign is that eventually I kind of ran out of shit to say about various stuff. So I apologize if this campaign was a little light on the humor. Although that being said, I don't know if you really do appreciate my sense of humor, or if you don't just want me to STF you and just get on with the game. But yeah, I'm hoping that in the future we'll try to avoid really long campaigns like this. I mean, what are we at now? This is like episode 150 something? That's 5 months. That's almost half of a year that we spent together through this epic journey. Almost half of a year. That's insane. That's crazy. Wait, that is almost half a year, right? 150 episodes, 30 episodes per month, 5 months, right? Yeah, almost like half a year, which is crazy considering that my channel's only been around for like a little over a year at this point. But anyways, so I'll try to avoid really long campaigns in the future, but that's not to say that we'll just completely steer clear of them. In the future, hopefully I'll have more free time, and then we'll be able to run simultaneous CK2 series or whatever, if I do have free time in the future. But what with having a full-time job all the while I'm recording this makes it a little difficult for me to you know, maintain regularly scheduled CK2 episodes, like if we have multiples of them. I apologize for the incorrect poor phrasing of that sentence, but anyways, what else is there? I'm not exactly sure what we'll do with Jade Dragon. I'm actually thinking we'll do something in India over here, so that we can get the full benefits of being close to China. But again, that remains to be seen. We'll see how that all goes. But if we do an Indian campaign, at least we'll have a clear goal of getting the achievement, or there's the decision that you take to form one fully formed, fantastic, majestical Indian empire. And I think it's the achievement Samrat Chakravatin or something. I forget exactly what it's called, but something to that effect. And I apologize if I butchered the pronunciation of that. So I think that'll be our goal for the next series. But I would actually, you know what? I actually wouldn't mind coming back to this in the distant future and actually trying to achieve complete and utter religious world domination. Probably a more, I guess, more involved catch and release method, where I don't hold on to the territory as long as I have, and unfortunately have some of them integrate into our empire here of Scandinavia. That was a bit of a mistake, but oh well. Okay, so without further ado, let's go through our family lineage now. We'll resign. Yes. And here we are. Come on. Let's see. That's our score. What is this? 370,924. Damn. That's like 3 times, almost 4 times out of the house Capet, which is pretty cool. All right, so let's go through our majestic dynasty of Gut. I'm just gonna call us the Gut. We started off with King Thorfinn of Svithjod, who I think we started off as a duke, right? No, we started off as a count in Gotland, and then we just started expanding from there. and we actually became king in with one character, which is pretty cool, or in one rule, I guess. Yeah. And then followed by Falkir Oder. I believe we started with a son, which is why Oder was named this way. Or, I don't know, I forget what exactly happened between Thorfinn and Oder for Oder to take over. I do remember making fun of his name a fair bit. And he was 36 years old when he took over. So wait, this guy was 40-something when he took over, right? Does that make sense? Or was he 30-something? He may have been 30-something. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not quite sure. I may be messing up the math there a little bit. But our first custom-named character was, of course, none other than Falkir Ledion Latifi. Wait, we actually become Falkir in the next generation? Holy shit. That's pretty fast. Wait, is that right? Did we actually reform the religion? Like with Oder? Damn, I might have to go back through our old footage here, but if that's what we did, that's pretty cool. So yeah, our first custom-named character was Ledion Latifi, who started things off, followed by Falkir Oaks, Falkir Coax, who ruled for 47 years. But, surprise, surprise, that's not even the longest rule. No, you'll see it come later on. It's pretty insane. Of course, Falkir Snurasal, aka Spinning Seal, kind of broke the combo here of masked, faceless men. It would have been cool if we had like an entire dynasty of faceless Vikings, but oh well. I think Spinning Seal here may have been the very last of the tribal rulers, judging by the thing here. He was the first emperor and probably the last of the tribal lineage or tribal governance. Spinning Seal was succeeded by Hervanda, Lord Agony, who ruled for 36 years. And notice the giant boost in Dynasty score from Spinning Seal to Lord Agony. Because I think once we became Lord Agony, it became a lot easier for us to declare religious wars and holy wars and shit, I think. And then Lord Agony was succeeded by Gold Laga, Gold Flame, who ruled for 38 years. And then Wilhelm Casimiro, who ruled for 60 years. 60 years. That's crazy. But here's the even crazier part. That's not even the longest rule in our dynasty. Alright, so after Wilhelm Casimiro, we followed him up with Erak Skullcrusher, who I guess was kind of like another combo breaker, because we had like a long lineage of, well, not exactly a long lineage. It started with a Snurasal, where they had a lineage, or a few generations of people with fake Swedish names, and I say fake Swedish because I mostly use Google Translate to get these names, and I apologize if I apologize to any and all Swedes out there if I butchered your language with all this. But with some of the accents and stuff, for whatever reason, CK2 wouldn't accept them, at least if I tried to copy and paste them. And I don't know how to insert accents, because I don't really use them, being a primarily English speaker. So yeah. Erik Skullcrusher was followed by Lil Snore Eric, who ruled for 33 years. All of these guys, of course, sporting rather majestic beards and majestic crowns and whatnot. Actually, it doesn't seem like the crowns changed much at all. I hope they wash them in between, because some of these guys look grimy. I think Erik Skullcrusher kind of looked like Sean Connery, if I recall, but I don't remember. Lil Snore Eric was succeeded by Nattens Riddar, which I believe was intended to be known as Knight Rider, but from what I've been told, actually is closer to Knight of the Night, like Night. Knight. Night. But, you know, it works. It works. And he ruled for 39 years. And then finally we had Falkir Plutan. Plutan tends to be the first name that we use for our rulers. And it all started with... Yeah, and actually, I think it started with our Zoroastrian playthrough, which is the first actual series that I had for the channel. So it's a bit of a tradition on the channel here to name one of our characters after Plutan. Plutan was succeeded by Corvus, who ruled for 50 years. Pretty impressive, Corvus, pretty impressive. But after 50 long years, Corvus finally bit the bucket and was succeeded by Smaragdus. Smaragdus. Yes, which is, again, the Google Translate version of... a Google translated Swedish of Emeraldus. Emeraldus was then succeeded by Akabesh, who maintained his beard color because he died at the tender age of 41. He was 11 when he took control. We actually did a pretty good job of making sure that we didn't have any regencies until then. But with Akabesh and Jawal and whatnot, everything started to go downhill. Jawal himself took over when he was 20, but so I guess he's not really the... Well, he started the whole thing where basically we had a lot of regencies and whatnot. Well, actually, no. I don't know what I'm talking about. That's a complete lie. The only regencies that we had was Akabesh and Miwino, I think. Yeah, so never mind. I'm just making shit up. But yeah, Jawal here, I believe, holds the record for the longest rule ever, beating Wilhelm Casimiro by 3 years. 63 years, Jawal. 60 fucking 3. Started when he was 20 years old, and I think he holds the highest Dynasty score of like a single individual, which is pretty crazy. It's about almost double that of like the second highest. Well, close. Anyways, yeah, actually fairly close, because I think the second highest is Corvus, and Jawal here has 68,000. But the downside of Jawal having ruled for such a long time was, of course, when Vembrant took over. This guy was already like fucking, what, 48 years old. 48 years old. And he only got to rule for 9 years. I think Vembrant in the end died of cancer, if I recall correctly. But yeah, at least he was able to give birth. Well, he himself didn't literally give birth because he, you know, doesn't have the giblets for that. But he was able to sire a son in Miwino. Oh wait, no, that came out wrong. He didn't sire a son inside of Miwino. No. He fathered Miwino. There we go. That's a very simple way of saying it. He fathered Miwino, who took over when he was 3 years old. 3 years old. And unfortunately, we had a regency for what? 12, 13 years? Which is pretty terrible. Regencies are, of course, the worst. And Miwino himself, I mean, I kind of wish that we could have played as Miwino a little bit more. But, I mean, his stats were probably, I think, the worst of all the I guess, tailor-made rulers that we've had. And it all started with his childhood when he, despite having been born as a genius, because he liked to play outside, the game decided that, hey, you know what? This guy likes playing outside. He's no longer a genius, and instead made Miwino quick. Which I still maintain is absolute fucking bullshit. Anyways, so Miwino then, of course, seduced his cousin and had a son, an incestuous bastard son, named Incesto. was actually the one that gave us the achievement, the Indo Norse Legacy. That's what the actual achievement is called. And there's a much easier way of getting that achievement if you are interested. There's videos on YouTube showing you how to get that achievement like very quickly and very easily. This is not the way to do it. We took about as long as we could to get this achievement, mostly because I didn't want to rule an empire that was like election or whatever. I tend not to do so well with the elections, but maybe it's just because I don't really know how to use them that well. I do really well with ultimogeniture inheritance, where I get to, you know, relieve my concubines and whatnot, my bangmaids. But yeah. So Incesto here has only been ruling for 7 years, but he still has managed to successfully take back the Empire of Scandinavia, which I'm glad for, and I think he's probably got the lowest, one of the lowest scores, because he's only been ruling for 7 years, so it's not really fair to say that, hey, Incesto here sucked. He kinda did, but given the circumstances, I'd say Jarl, Vembrant, Miwino, and Incesto did exceptionally well. I mean, we did have a bit of a crisis moment with Vembrant here. And also we had a bit of a crisis moment with Miwino, and I'm glad that we had him explode with dark energy. So hey, I mean, if you also need to get your ruler killed off, and there's no way to consciously make that decision to abdicate from life, I guess is a euphemistic way of saying it, then you can join the Satanists and sacrifice everyone in your prison to Satan or Hell or Kali, and boom, you will literally explode with dark energy, and bad shit will happen to you. So yeah, we end the legacy with Falkir Incesto. Holy crap. So yeah, thank you guys so much. I know there have been a handful of you that have kept up with every single video every time it's you know, it's aired, which is absolutely incredible, and that I cannot thank you enough from like the bottom of my heart. I cannot thank you enough for the support that you've shown, not just the series but the channel and myself as well. So thank you guys for that. I promise we will be back with more CK2 once Jade Dragon is out. I'm actually recording this a few days before Jade Dragon comes out, so I'm going to, I mentioned this before, but I'm going to try to like release a couple of episodes, or maybe even like 3 episodes a day until Jade Dragon comes out, so that we can get these out sooner. And that way we will start fresh, we will start the next episode or whatever fresh with Jade Dragon, rather than having this go through into the release of Jade Dragon and whatnot. But if you are watching this, I actually have a plan to do a live stream of Jade Dragon once it's released. Not necessarily to really play it, but more so to just show you kind of like the features and whatnot. And I wanted to give you guys a chance to just chat with me while I'm playing it, while I'm exploring the new features. And that way you get to see what the new features entail and what to expect from Jade Dragon. And that way you can have an informed decision of whether or not you want to pick up Jade Dragon. And I think that might be helpful or not, I don't know. Hopefully it will be, but we'll see. Alright, so again, thank you guys so much for following with the series. Even if you didn't follow through with the entire series, that's fine. Even if you just watched 1 episode, thank you so much for spending your busy time from your busy day with me as I blabber on and like just completely ass my way through this entire game in this campaign. But we did it. I'd say we did it. We got 60% of the world converted to Germanicdom, if not more. And I'm sure if we had more time, it would have just started snowballing like crazy, especially since the Mongols just kind of exploded into a whole bunch of other crap. But yeah, and I don't really know what more to say beyond that. Plans for the channel, I don't know. I guess we'll probably talk about in some other place, maybe. I don't know if this is the right place to say it, but yeah. nothing new really planned besides, you know, Jade Dragon and all that stuff. And there'll be a various mixture of like different genres and whatnot, but again, I don't think this is the right place for channel updates or anything like that. So I apologize for the longer post-mortem. They generally tend to be about like 5 to 10 minutes-ish, but we're actually getting close to 30 minutes. And that's mostly because of my verbal diarrhea, for which I apologize again profusely. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have an amazing breakfast.